Welcome to English Stories with Alex 30 days ago. I couldn't speak English without fear. Today, it feels like home. I was nervous, tripping over words, and honestly, too scared to even try speaking English. I felt stuck, like the language was a puzzle I couldn't solve. But then, I took on a challenge that turned everything around. I decided to think in English, only English for 30 days. No teachers, no notebooks, just my thoughts. And let me tell you, what happened blew my mind. Over the next few minutes, I'm going to take you through this adventure from shaky first steps to living and breathing English. It's a story of small wins, big fears, and a moment on day 17 that changed everything. So, grab a comfy seat, maybe a cup of coffee, and let's dive in. Oh, and before we start, where are you listening from? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know. Let's kick things off with a moment that stopped me in my tracks. It was day 17 of my challenge. I was sitting outside, the sun sinking low, a cool breeze brushing my face. Everything felt calm, like the world was holding its breath just for me. Without even thinking, I whispered to myself, "This moment feels beautiful." I froze. Did I just say that? In English without translating, without scrambling for words, it wasn't just a sentence, it was a feeling, raw and real, wrapped in English. For the first time, English wasn't something I was studying, it was something I was living. My heart raced, not from nerves, but from pure joy. I realized I wasn't just learning a language anymore. I was feeling it, like it was a part of me. Have you ever had a moment where a language felt like it belonged to you? That's what I want to share today, how I got to that magical moment and the steps that led me there. Rewind to day one because trust me, it wasn't all sunsets and perfect sentences. I woke up that morning with a bold plan from now on. I'd think only in English. No native language allowed, not even in my head. Sounds simple, right? Oh, I was so wrong. The second I opened my eyes, my brain started chattering in my native tongue, like it was on autopilot. I had to stop myself and say, "No, English only." But what do you even say? How do you think in a language you're still learning? So, I started small. I looked at the ceiling and thought, I wake up. I saw the curtains and thought, I see the window. I sat up and said in my head, I sit on the bed. These were tiny, clunky sentences, but they were mine. It felt slow, almost silly, but also exciting, like I was stepping into a new world where English lived in my mind. That first day, I kept going, walking to the bathroom. I thought, I opened the door, brushing my teeth. I said, I brush my teeth. It was just me, naming what I saw and did in the simplest way possible. No grammar rules, no stress about mistakes. But it wasn't easy. My brain kept slipping back to my native language, like water leaking through my fingers. I'd catch myself thinking in my native tongue and feel frustrated, like, ugh, why can't I do this? But I told myself, every sentence, no matter how small, was a brick in the foundation I was building. So, I pushed through, even when it felt like I was moving at a snail's pace. By day two, things got harder. I woke up, and my brain went right back to my native language comfortable. Automatic. I had to whisper to myself, no, English only. But my brain was stubborn. It felt heavy, like dragging a suitcase up a hill. I'd think. I get up, and then a word from my native tongue would sneak in. I'd catch it, correct it, and keep going. It was exhausting. I remember sitting at the kitchen table, staring at my tea, trying to describe it in English. The steam is white, it goes up. Simple, right, but my brain was fighting me, whispering, just relax. No one's watching. I had to push back and say, no, this matters. That resistance showed me something big when you stretch your mind. It pushes back, but that's how you know change is happening. Then came day 4 and things started to shift. I was in the bathroom, early morning, the sun just peeking through the window. I looked in the mirror, hair a mess, eyes still sleepy, and without planning it, I said to myself, "You look tired." I stopped. Wait, what? It felt like I was talking to a friend, but it was just me. I stood there, staring at my reflection, and tried again. "How are you today?" I answered. "I'm okay. I slept late." Those words were soft, quiet, but so real. For the first time, English wasn't just in my head, it was coming out, even if just a whisper. The mirror became my first teacher. No judgment, no pressure. I started asking simple questions. What will you do today? Are you happy? And I'd answer, I'll study English. I feel good. Those 2 minutes gave me a boost I didn't expect. I used to be so shy, worried about how I sounded. But that mirror was my safe space, where I could mess up and still feel proud. This mirror trick became a daily ritual. Every morning, I'd stand there, look myself in the eye, and talk. It wasn't just about words, it was about building confidence. Those little chats helped me hear my own voice in English. And slowly, I started believing I could do this. By day 7, I hit a milestone that changed how I saw mistakes. I was in the kitchen, cooking rice, the smell filling the air. In my head, I said, I cooking rice. Then I paused. Something felt off. I tried again. I cooking rice. Nope, not right. Then I got it. I am cooking rice. That felt right. I smiled. Not because I nailed it, but because I caught the mistake all by myself. No grammar book, no Google, just my ears telling me what sounded correct. It was like learning as a kid. You feel it, fix it, move on. That moment showed me mistakes aren't something to fear. They're like friends who teach you something new. One mistake still makes me laugh. I was chopping veggies for dinner and thought, I cut the vegetables. But what came out was, I cut the animals. I caught it and burst out laughing. No, not animals. That silly mix-up stuck with me, and I'll never forget vegetables now. Mistakes create memories. They make learning real, even fun. When I said things like, he go to school instead of he goes to school, I'd smile, fix it, and keep going. It was like training a muscle. Every rep made me stronger. Those first 7 days showed me how far I could come. From struggling to think I wake up to whispering sentences in front of the mirror. I was building something real. That moment on day 17 when I felt English in my heart came from those slow, stubborn steps. And you can take those steps too. So, try this right now. Think one simple English sentence. Maybe I'm listening to Alex or I want to learn. Say it in your head. Feel it. That's where the magic starts. Let's keep going. There's more to this story. Now, let's move into days 8 to 14, where English started feeling like second nature. On day 10, I had a breakthrough. I was sitting in my room, the fan spinning lazily above, just chilling, out of nowhere. I thought, what if I imagine a conversation in English? Like, create a scene in my head where I'm talking to someone. So, I tried it. I pictured myself in a store, at the counter. A friendly woman smiled and said, hello, Can I help you? In my head, I replied, yes. I'm looking for a jacket, she asked. What size do you need? I said, medium. Please. She handed me one and said, try this. I answered, thank you. I stopped, eyes wide. Did I just have a whole conversation in English in my mind? It felt so real, like I was both the actor and audience in my own movie. That moment was pure joy. I'd unlocked a new skill. I didn't need a real person to practice, no pressure, no fear of messing up. I could play out these scenes anytime. So, I kept going. I imagined asking for directions. Excuse me, where's the bus stop, or ordering food? Can I have a coffee? Please. It was like practicing for real life in a safe space. One time, I cracked myself up. I was imagining ordering at a restaurant and said, I want chicken tea. Chicken tea, I laughed and corrected myself. No, I mean chicken soup. That silly mistake made the moment stick, and I'll never mix up those words again. These imaginary chats were fun and made me feel ready, like I could handle a real conversation someday. By day 12, something wilder happened. English wasn't just something I forced myself to think, and it was showing up on its own. I was walking to the bathroom one morning, toothbrush in hand, and thought, I need to buy toothpaste. I stopped. Wait a second. I didn't plan that sentence. I didn't translate it. It just popped into my head, clear as day, in English. It was like my brain had flipped a switch. I smiled at my reflection and whispered, this is working. That feeling was incredible, like finding a new path in a forest you've walked a million times. What blew my mind was how English started carrying my emotions. One day, I felt down and thought, I feel low today, but it's okay. Another time, I was happy and said in my head, I love this moment. These weren't just words, they were my feelings, wrapped in English. It felt natural, like English was becoming part of how I saw the world. One evening, I was walking, watching the sunset. The sky was bursting with colors, orange, pink, purple. Without thinking, I whispered, this sky looks like a painting. My heart skipped a beat. That sentence came from my soul. English wasn't just a language I was learning, it was becoming a piece of who I am. Those moments showed me something big. When you keep showing up, day after day, English starts to stick. It's not about fancy words or perfect grammar. It's about letting the language sink into your life. By day 14, I was thinking in English without trying. On the bus, I'd think, that building is tall. Planning my evening, I'd say, I'll cook dinner, then watch a movie. It wasn't forced anymore. It was just me. To keep this habit growing, I wove English into everything. Walking to the store, I'd describe what I saw. The trees are green. The kids are playing. On the bus, I'd think about my day. I need to call my friend later. Before bed, I'd plan tomorrow I'll wake up at 7 and make breakfast. These thoughts weren't exciting, but they were powerful. They were turning English into my brain's default setting, like training a muscle until it moves without thinking. Here's where it gets personal. I started dreaming bigger in English. One night, lying in bed, I thought about my goals. I said to myself, I want to talk to a foreigner someday. I want to order coffee in English. No hesitation. Those weren't random thoughts, they were promises to myself, made in English. It felt like I was building a bridge to a new version of me, one who could step into any conversation with confidence. English wasn't just a subject anymore. It was a way to see the world, plan my future, feel my emotions. The biggest lesson from these days: repetition is magic. When you keep thinking in English, even in small ways, it stops being a chore. It becomes a habit, then a lifestyle. You don't need a classroom or teacher. Your life, your walks, thoughts, quiet moments is your classroom. Every time you choose English, you're teaching your brain to make it natural. A quick story from day 13 sums it up. I was at the store, grabbing groceries, and noticed they were closing early. My first thought was, they are closing early today. No translation, no struggle, just English. I smiled, because that tiny moment proved my brain was starting to live in English. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. So, try this. Imagine a conversation in English. Picture ordering food or asking for directions. Say the words in your head, like a movie. It's fun, safe, and a step toward making English your own. Drop a comment. What conversation did you imagine? I'm dying to hear. Now, let's wrap up with days 15 to 21, where I faced my biggest fear and realized I wasn't just learning English, I was living it. By day 15, I was feeling good. I'd been thinking in English, imagining conversations, whispering to my mirror. In my head, I was confident, almost fluent, but I hadn't spoken to a real person. The thought made my stomach twist. What if I forgot words? What if I sounded silly? My brain was ready, but my mouth felt frozen. It's strange. Right, you feel strong in your thoughts, but speaking out loud brings this heavy fear, like a wall you're not sure you can climb. I knew I had to act. On day 15, I made a plan. Say one short sentence to someone, nothing big, just a tiny step. That evening, I met a friend outside my place. She smiled and said, "Hey, what's up?" My heart pounded, like it was trying to escape. I took a deep breath and said, "I'm learning to speak English. I think in English now." It came out slow, shaky, but I said it. She paused. Then her face lit up. "Wow, that's so cool. You never told me that." I couldn't believe it. She didn't laugh or correct me. She was impressed. That moment felt like crossing a finish line. My heart was still racing, but now from excitement, not fear. The next day, I tried again with another friend. I said, "I practice English every day." In my head, she looked surprised and said, "Really, that's awesome." Just a few words, but they felt huge. Walking home, my chest puffed out a little, thinking, I did it. Those sentences were like keys unlocking a door I'd been scared to open. I was nervous every time my voice felt small. Words came slow, but my thoughts were clear, strong, because I'd built that foundation in silence. I remembered something I heard once: speak when you're not ready. That's how you get ready. And I was starting to believe it. On day 20, something unexpected happened. I was walking home after an errand, feeling relaxed, the breeze soft against my face. My mind was in English, thinking about dinner. I should cook something quick tonight. Then, a woman near the street caught my eye. She looked confused, holding a water bottle, glancing around. She turned to me and said, "Excuse me, where can I buy more water?" My heart jumped. For a split second, my brain froze. But then, like a reflex, I smiled and said, "Go straight, then turn left. There's a small shop." She nodded, relieved, and said, "Thank you," I replied. "You're welcome." And just like that, it was over. I kept walking, but inside, I was soaring. I spoke English to a stranger, in real life, without planning or panicking. It was just a few words, but it felt like winning a championship. I replayed it in my head, shocked. The words came naturally. No translating, no hesitation. All those days of silent practice thinking, whispering, imagining had built a bridge to this moment. Later, I told a friend about it and said something new. I feel like I live in English now. Not I'm learning or I'm trying. I live in it. That felt so true. Like English was my world. By day 21, I was hooked. I started having more tiny conversations. I asked a shopkeeper, "How much is this?" I answered a classmate's question in English. I even said, "Have a nice day" to someone at the bus stop. They were small moments, but each made my voice stronger, my words faster. When I messed up, like saying he don't, instead of he doesn't, I didn't feel embarrassed. I'd catch it, smile, and fix it. One time, I thought, he don't like coffee, then paused, laughed, and said, he doesn't like coffee. It felt like I was an artist, brushing over a mistake to improve the picture. Those fixes were proof I was growing. What amazed me most was how English wove into my life. I'd catch phrases in songs on the radio, words I never noticed before. I'd plan my day in English. I'll go to the store, then call my mom. Even my dreams started having English. It wasn't just a language, it was a lifestyle. I wasn't practicing for a test or class. I was living in English, feeling it, using it to navigate my world. That's when I realized fluency isn't about perfection or knowing every word. It's a journey, a house you build one brick at a time. Every thought, sentence, and brave moment adds a brick. Those days taught me something huge. Silence is powerful, but speaking is the goal. Thinking in English trained my brain, but speaking trained my courage. You don't need to say a lot, just one sentence, one moment can change everything. I used to think I had to wait until I was ready, but readiness comes from trying, from pushing past the fear that says, what if I'm not good enough? The spoiler, you're good enough. Right now, to start. So, try this today. Say one English sentence to someone. Maybe tell a friend, I'm learning English. Or ask a cashier, how much is this? It doesn't have to be perfect. Say it, feel the nerves, and see what happens. Those small steps are how you start living in English. Drop a comment. What sentence did you try? I'm rooting for you. Wow, what a ride. 30 days of going from I wake up to living and breathing English. It started with quiet thoughts, a bit of courage, and a lot of persistence. My biggest takeaway: English isn't just a language. It's a way to connect with the world and discover yourself. Don't fear mistakes. Each one's a step forward. The secret is to start small, keep going, and trust you've got this. Fluency isn't a finish line. It's a habit you build. If this story sparks something in you, hit that subscribe button for English Stories with Alex. Share your English learning moment in the comments, and let's make English a part of our lives together. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.